and I show you people who were sitting down inside the World Trade Center, eating that morning, having breakfast as it happened, and they're like, I felt this huge explosion from under me, and I could have swore that the subway had blown up. And then you have the guy immediately after that coming out of the subway going, the subway blew, and he's burned. So, you need to look at this information. You can dismiss it out of hand, but, if your father's really having trouble with 9/11 being an inside job, I really feel that my last film, Fabled Enemies, is a great wake-up tool. It doesn't talk about the controlled demolition at the World Trade Center. It doesn't talk about Shanksville, Pennsylvania. It doesn't talk about the Pentagon. Instead, it brings you through the international intelligence organization that actually carried out the attacks. It follows the money. It follows the people that were arrested. It follows the politicians that grandstanded, including Joseph Biden, our current vice president. So look, get that online for free. Get your father to sit down in front of a computer screen and watch it, or burn a copy from a torrent, or pick it up from Infowars.com right now. Jesse, I thank you for the call, and do not stop trying to awaken the masses, including your family, because to me that's the most important thing. My friends and family are probably the most important part of my life, and that's why I do what I do. I also do it for a selfish reason. I'd like to live free. I don't like the state of the world right now. I don't like the fact that the dollar is about to be pulled as the world reserve currency, and I don't think, most people right now can comprehend what that's going to do to the economy. I really don't. I don't think that most people even listening right now who know what I'm talking about, who have studied the quote-unquote New World Order, who have studied the globalists, understand how hardcore that will be if they announce the dollar is no longer the world reserve currency coming up at the G20 in Pittsburgh. All right, let's go to Chuck in North Carolina. Chuck, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason, I just want to call and say I disagree.
Okay, what do you disagree with, Chuck?
I disagree with everything, man. I don't think that 9/11 was an inside job. I don't think that anything matters except for today my Steelers lost.
Are you being sarcastic, my man?
No, I'm serious, man. We should have won, and we didn't, and, pretty much that's the only thing that matters.
Well, I hear you. It's tough when the sports teams take a loss, but when I'm basking in my afterglow of the Yankees dominating in the American League, but I haven't even got to see 2 or 3 games.
I don't want to hear about the Yankees, Jason. That's enough. That's enough, man.
All right, Chuck. Hey, I thank you for the call, brother. I think Chuck was being sarcastic. I don't think he really cared that much about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But who knows? I could be wrong. That is the mentality of most people out there. They're really concerned about their sports. And I'm bad, too. I couldn't wait for UFC 103 this weekend. I watched it. I'm a big fan of MMA. I'd like to catch the World Series this year, if the Yankees are in it. At least 2 games. I'd like to see 2. I'd like to see the one where they take the series and actually have the pile-on. Haven't seen it since 2000 when they beat the Mets, which was glorious. Almost a decade, Hoosh. That's tough for me. I want to see some winning ways. And I've been waiting for an NBA championship for the New York Knicks my whole life. Yeah. I know. I'll be waiting a while for that indeed. So, but that's side issue. I don't even get to watch that stuff most of the time. There's a time for that. There's a time for the tribalism and sitting down with the buddies and having the brews and eating the popcorn and the nachos, flipping the burgers out back. That's there to enjoy life after you've participated in it. And by participated in it, I don't mean went to your 9 to 5, kissed your wife, disciplined your kid, and then just, forgot about how the world works. Just said, you know what, bankers, just steal it all. I'm for the bailout. If we don't have this bailout, I had people coming up to me before the bailout saying it was a good thing. That if we didn't do it, the entire economy would collapse, and it was all over. It was like Armageddon situation. And they were usually right-wingers, unfortunately, because remember, the bailout was first introduced to us through George W. Bush, but promoted by future President Barack H. Obama. All right, let's go to John in California. John, you're on the line.
Hi, Jason. Listen, to change the subject, I think you guys really should start spending more time discussing Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck is out of control now. We're watching him going ballistic now. He's a clear and present danger to the American people, as far as I'm concerned. And,
well, I'm obviously no fan of Glenn Beck, and I have talked about him on numerous occasions, not only on this show, but when I've hosted the Alex Jones show. And it's kind of a conundrum for me because at some level, he does expose now the economic bad guys. He uses the phrases that, Alex Jones, like fall of the Republic, you're hearing that out of Glenn Beck's mouth. He's saying things like ask questions, demand answers about the economy when, I had ask questions, demand answers printed up on little black and white posters for the 5th anniversary of 9/11. Well, Glenn Beck on the 5th anniversary of 9/11 really didn't want to ask questions and demand answers when he canceled myself and Dylan Avery from taking on the Popular Mechanics guys. We'd been booked for over 2 weeks and really talking to his producers for over a month. And after I eviscerated the Popular Mechanics guys on Amy Goodman's program on Democracy Now! Nope, we just get pulled. So yeah, is he a clear and present danger? You bet he is. But at the same time, he's leading people to our information. When I went to that rally in San Antonio where Glenn Beck actually was, that Tea Party in April, a lot of people had seen the Obama deception. Now, does that mean they put all the pieces together and they understood everything right away? No, they were still there to see Glenn Beck on a lot of occasions. But at the same time, it's that spark, it's that fire. A lot of people haven't been awake since 2002, like myself, or, like some people since the 70s or 80s. Some people are still really clouded in their judgment. So yeah, is Glenn Beck a big problem and a huge opposition to overcome? You bet he is. But at the same time, he gives these little nuggets of truth that lead people to InfoWars and Prison Planet and 9/11 Truth websites. I thank you for the call, John. G20 security driving away Pittsburgh's bustle. Now, for this upcoming G20, they've got security everywhere. They're going to stop bridge traffic. A lot of people, I think, are going to actually be stuck in the cities unless you take side roads and really go out of your way to leave. Okay, and why is this important? I'm wondering if they are really setting up a situation where security is so tight and so involved, that they don't have a situation like the one they had with the WTO in Seattle. Because a lot of people could be upset if on the 24th Barack H. Obama gets up there and says, well, I've talked to my colleagues in the United Nations. As many of you know, I'm becoming the head of the UN Security Council. And in order to move towards this green economy and work with the world, the dollar will no longer be the world reserve currency. But this is a good thing. But a lot of people might not think it's such a good thing. So this is the only reason I can see them having the lockdown like they do. The city with a population of about 310,000 usually draws about 200,000 commuters on a typical weekday. They are cordoning off 3 full city blocks from all traffic altogether. And again, they're shutting down bridges. So are they doing this as a preemptive measure, as a pre-strike to the outrage? Remember, they're pushing this green economy. That's a headline. That's a Reuters headline. They're already out there. This is probably a press release from some monkey at the UN. Pittsburgh showcases green economy at G20. That's what this is. They're prepping you for it. That's why we have cap and trade. It's not to stop the big evil businesses from polluting the earth. It's to stop us from achieving our goals as a great humanity. We'll be back after this, taking your calls, 888-201-2244.
Into your life it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. We better stop.
All right, folks, we are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, and we're going to get into the swine flu news, the pandemic news. I was going through the headlines today. One of the headlines was about the Mayo Clinic. They were kind of dissing the Mayo Clinic in the articles that I was reading. There was one, I think, in Reuters, and then one on MSNBC, possibly on Fox. I hit those news wires today. Might even been over at the Drudge Report and went there today as well. And what reminded me about the Mayo Clinic and how important I think it was a paper they did a month and a half, 2 months ago, was the fact that they actually said that people who took the regular flu vaccine were actually more likely to get the flu. And they kind of poo-pooed it. They said, oh, this doesn't mean don't get the flu vaccine, but we did do this study, and if you take the flu vaccine, you are more likely to get the flu. Now, that would really coincide why they're hyping up that the swine flu could kill millions unless rich nations give up 900 million pounds, which is well over $1 billion, folks. Well over $1 billion in order to inoculate the third world. A woman wears a mask as a preventative measure against swine flu. At Sassoon Hospital in Pune, India, August 11, 2009, the swine flu pandemic could kill millions and cause anarchy in the world's poorest nations unless 900 million pounds can be raised from rich countries to pay for vaccines and antiviral medicines. So they're squeezing us for money. This is about profit as well. But at the same time, it's about eugenics. It's about population sustainability.